Hey guys, Michael the DC Multiverse Collector here, sitting here on a Wednesday night. It's around midnight, almost Thursday, and I have a whole bunch of DC Multiverse that is sitting here in its box that I haven't opened. A lot of this came in today from Fet's Hideout Toys and Collectibles. This Skydive Batman came in from my good friends at Head Start Toys who provided it to me for review. So look, I've just come into all this DC Multiverse at the same time, and a lot of this stuff is now on the older side. It's been floating around in the United States for a while, so instead of doing a full review on all these figures, I thought, hey, why not just sit here, relax, unbox some figures, have a casual chat, and let's just sort of look at the figures and review them on the fly as we open them. Hope that sounds good. If it sounds good to you, stick around and let's go through it bit by bit. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, and at the end of this video, if it's something that you enjoyed, please give it a like. Anyway, where shall we start? I think we'll start with Skydive Batman. So look, this is a figure I wasn't that interested in to begin with, but now that I look at it, it's got that great sculpt that we've seen a few times, and it's got that new Christian Bale head sculpt. So let's open it up and see how good it is. Yeah, look, opening DC Multiverse is actually quite a frustrating process compared to Marvel Legends, which sort of just pops right out of the plastic. DC Multiverse, you gotta get in here, you gotta get your cards out. Sorry if this is triggering anyone the way I do this, but this is just the way I do it. I tear things up. And of course, we all know getting stuff out of this plastic is just, it's a real nightmare, so bear with me. Yeah, so like as I thought, this figure is totally fine. Like the body sculpt is excellent. We know that from the original Dark Knight figures. I have the Batman movie 6-pack version with the cloth cape, which I really like. This one, it has a place in my collection, I guess. This Christian Bale head sculpt is pretty good. It's not the best I've seen, but it's far from the worst. I think it captures his likeness quite well, from a distance especially. He comes with some accessories. You'll see he's got his little flight pack backpack thing, which I think just plugs in here at the back. It's really tough. Come on. There you go. Clip that in there with his little parachute pack or whatever. He's got his little grappling gun, whatchamacallit, from the movie. So that's neat. Anyway, there he is with his gun thing, his launcher, and his little disky thing. I don't know. This is alright. Like, the accessories are fine. He looks like a good figure. If you really want an unmasked Christian Bale Bruce Wayne head sculpt, there you go. You can plop that on a suited figure if you like. But yeah, I think this is okay. Not a bad figure at all. So what should we do next? I think next we will do... Well, let's just go in order. Let's do Cassandra Kane. So now, this one I've been waiting for a while because Cassandra Kane has a wired cape. So not only do we get the Cassie Kane that we've sort of been hankering for a long time, but we also get it with a wired cape, and if you know me by now, I love wired capes. I think they're really fun, add to playability. Okay, so there she is out of the box. And yeah, she looks pretty cool. This wide cape is interesting. It's got sort of the tattered Batwing look down the bottom and some very stiff wires on the edges, which, yeah, I really like. I really like the added sort of dynamic posing that you get with these. It just gives the figures so much more personality. And you know, I know sculpted capes can be really, really nice and they can look great, but they really inhibit what you can do with a figure. The way you compose them, sort of, you know, whether they're static or actiony or like, you know, wide capes, I think is kind of the best option, in my opinion. It gives you the articulation that you want, you know, but they still can look pretty good. So yeah, this is not bad. I mean, this is not high quality. This is very sort of thin and transparent, but it's a mass market figure, right? So you just have to bear that in mind. And if you compare it to what Marvel Legends is doing, all of their figures just have these rigid plastic capes that don't move and don't really look that good and don't even have that much sculpted detail on them. And it's like, nah, this is the way to go. This is how you get a figure with maximum playability. As for the figure itself, like, she's cool and all. You know, I like the paint of the bat emblem on the front. The belt looks good. All the lines look good. But this is a reuse of that Batgirl body from the Wave 1 Batgirl. So yeah, it's a really old body and it's not bad. It's a bit leggy, like the legs are a bit long, and it's got those hideous ball joints that are just like big and bulbous and look terrible. And McFarlane has sort of done a lot better since then. And I don't know why, if he's going to reuse this buck, he couldn't just replace these joints with something better. Like, surely that wouldn't have been too hard just to update it a little bit, because the body itself is fine, really, except for, yeah, those hideous joints. But yeah, the figure itself's okay. This wide cape's a little bit stiff, a bit messy. Gonna have to tweak it a bit to make it look good on the shelf. But yeah, Cassie Kane in general, this is pretty fun. Head sculpt looks pretty nice, and you'll see she comes with a batarang and a grappling gun, and yeah, so she's cool. Been waiting for her for a while, and I think that McFarlane generally did a respectable job with her. Next, we might look at, well, let's look at the Rival. So the Rival is kind of like a underappreciated Flash villain, or, you know, enemy of Jay Garrick. You know, but I really liked the Jay Garrick buck when it first came out. I think that's one of the best body bucks that McFarlane has done, and that Jay Garrick figure is still one of the best figures in the line, in my opinion. It's just the epitome of like a classic design with sort of modern sculpt and articulation. I just think it nailed the subject matter really well. So while this is sort of a lazy reuse in many ways, like, I'm just happy to see this body buck getting another go round, and we'll see if there's enough unique here to make it sort of worth the double dip. Excuse me while I cut these millions of little pieces out with these plastic strings that drive me insane. Okay, so here is the Rival out of the box. And yeah, it's pretty cool. This buck was cool before, and it's still cool. And I really like the darker color scheme they've given his, you know, his outfit. Everything's sort of a little bit of a shade darker than Jay Garrick, which I really like. It's still the great same sculpt all round. The head is the same, but obviously it's got a new paint scheme and a new, well, I say it's the same. It's actually not the same at all. I don't know what I'm talking about. Please ignore me. It's late. Completely new head sculpt with that sort of Joker eyes looking smile. The Speed Force coming out of the eyes looks really evil. Look, I do wish that you could take this out. Like, I like it. It'd be nice if they were removable pieces, so you had some options about how to display him, or, you know, an alternate head. But yeah, he's like a really evil-looking Flash, which I guess is what he is. And so I always like to add to my Speedster collection, particularly Flash villains. So that's nice. And you actually get with this figure a whole bunch of extra hands. You get these two sort of gesture hands, which are really sort of evil-looking and crazy. And you get two fist hands. You also get all of these, you know, Speed Force, you know, pieces, but I don't know that there's a person alive who can actually make these look good, so I don't use them. Rock solid figure. I don't know if you need him unless you're an absolute completionist for the Flash and, you know, his rogues gallery, but for me, that's me. I want all the Flash villains, so yeah, he's a must, and he's pretty cool, and especially if you don't have the original Jay Garrick figure. Like, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with how solid and well articulated and sculpted this, you know, base body really is. It's a cool fig. So yeah, pick it up, I reckon. Anyway, what's next? I think we'll go with Aquaman. So yeah, look, this digital stuff that McFarlane is doing, I find really weird. Like, I'm just not into NFTs, sorry, at all. So the added digital Build-A-Figure thing just has no meaning to me whatsoever. But I do think he's kind of, you know, using the opportunity to sell us classic versions of characters that we've been wanting, like Aquaman and Hal Jordan. So I guess if this is the price we have to pay to get the figures that we want, then okay. Aquaman's a weird one because, like, he's cool. I really love the colors, and this body from the Endless Winter Aquaman was good when it first came out, and I think it's still pretty good, but like that head is just like super weird, and I don't know, there's some weird stuff going on here. He does come with this little guy. What the hell is this guy's name? Can someone remind me of his name? It escapes me. I'll remember it in a minute. Let me know in the comments, and tell me how stupid I am when you know this guy's name and I don't. He does come with an alternate head, which is sort of not that much better than the other head. It's just got a really creepy smile. Comes with some extra hands. His trident. So it's like a decent enough offering. It's just, why does it have to come with a fidgetal thing? So yeah, here's our weird little guy. I'm a big fan of weird little guys. Does he have articulation? Hey, his little arms move. Hey, his little head moves. His legs don't do much. Oh, they rotate a little bit at the where the shorts are cut, so that's nice. So this guy does stuff. Like he's a cute accessory. I like this. I like when accessories are like weird little guys. Yeah, that's just me. Yeah, so look, this classic Aquaman's out of the box, and while there are some things that I immediately like right off the bat, like the golden colour of his hair, the really bright orange, bright yellow, bright green, like these classic colours really pop, there are some things that I immediately don't like. That head sculpt is mediocre at best. It's okay. The hair has been sculpted so that it looks like he's underwater and it's sort of flowing, which I kind of think is kind of cool, but I do prefer the Arthur Curry with like a neater, more like kempt looking appearance. But yeah, the hair's okay. The facial sculpt is meh. The paint around the eyes is very, very average. This trident is just cast in this cheapo looking plastic that's not quite gold, not quite yellow. It's just weird, and it sits really loose in his hand, and overall the figure is really loose. Like I can shake him. Look at his legs. They just jingle jangle around. There's something about this figure that just doesn't feel tight. Like standing him up, I don't know, he feels wobbly. He might grow on me. He might grow on me if I can find him like in a really good pose alongside the other classic Justice League members. I might find some fondness for this guy, but like, come on, this body. We've seen this before in Endless Winter Aquaman. We've seen it before in the Ocean Master that shares this buck. We've seen it in the Justice League of America JLA wave recently with that Aquaman is a modified version of this. Like we've seen this so many times, and I don't know, man. At least the accessories are halfway decent. Like as I said, we get the little like weird little guy, which I love weird little guys. You get an alternate head sculpt that's like the freakiest thing I've ever seen. I can't look at it anymore. You get the display stand, which has this McFarlane Toys digital logo on it, which is kind of embarrassing because it's sort of admitting to the world that you bought an NFT. So like, I won't be displaying it with this. And you also get the NFT itself on this like, redeemable card thing, which this is just going to go in a bucket somewhere. And yeah, I'll never think of it again. But look, this is kind of like passably good. This is like, okay. It's okay. It passes just. But we could do better, I think. He's really saved, in my opinion, by the weird little guy. Yeah, love a weird little guy. So next, I think we'll open up the Batpod and Selina Kyle, just to shake it up a little bit. We don't need to go through that fidgetal stuff right again so soon. So let's open this up. Yeah, here we go. What have we got here? Oh man. Okay, so Selina Kyle is in like a little cardboard coffin, just loose in here. Oh my god, in a plastic bag with, oh wow. This is very Marvel Legends. I don't know, for anyone who's bought Marvel Legends recently, when they did their like plastic-free packaging, everything kind of comes in like little bags, and it's all very sad. You just get this like corpse-like figure. It's easier to open than cutting all those plastic ties, but there's something pathetic about it. Anyway, I'll open her up in a minute and see what we've got. Let's get the Batpod out. All right. So the Batpod comes in a plastic bag. Right. So there it is. There is the Batpod. Looks fairly good. Not much paint on there, but a little bit where it counts. The wheels are nice and rubbery. It captures the source material. I've got a few things to add to it, but gosh, it's light and it's insubstantial for the price. This is not like a big mega figure equivalent. Like, so this thing costs the same as a mega figure and regular figure 2-pack, like the Doomsday 2-pack or the forthcoming Bane and Nightfall Batman 2-pack, and this ain't a mega figure worth. Like, this is barely the value of one of the previous Bat Cycles they've released, because it's just there's so little plastic. Anyway, let's get it all open and have a look at the total package, I guess. Alright, so having put the Batpod together, you kind of just attach these gun pieces to the front. It kind of completes the look. But there's no mistaking this is a very lightweight, very threadbare vehicle. There's lots of soft plastic here to assist with posability, but it does sort of create the feeling that this is kind of cheap. Even though it doesn't look that cheap, it feels cheap. Like, it feels very light. Everything's soft and mushy. The wheels feel pretty good. I'll give them that. The wheels have got nice texture and nice spin to them, but like all of this stuff, just like you see, that just pops off. Like, that just pops off effortlessly. Presumably it's designed that way so it doesn't break. So I get that. And same with this. It's also thin in the sculpt, that it's got to be bendy so that it doesn't snap off and so that you can pose the figure. But yeah, it's not that impressive. Like, it looks fine, but I just can't get over the price. Like, it's just so expensive that it's really hard to justify its existence, in my opinion, unless you're a huge fan of The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. I'm trying to balance it there. And you've got here Selina Kyle. Now, she looks pretty good. Her leg has come a bit warped in the box. You can see just here, her leg is bent, and that really annoys me. You see that a lot with Marvel Legends, not so much with Multiverse, so it sucks to see this sort of wonky leg. And yeah, her legs just seem like a little bit too long, like with a lot of female figures in the line, but the sculpt itself is excellent. I love the mixture of textures. I love this glossy texture for the boots and this sort of more matte texture for the body, and it looks really nice. Like, at a distance, if you don't sort of focus on the proportions too much, it looks really good. Yeah, that wobbly leg really bothers me, I've got to say. The head sculpt is reasonable. Like, it looks a fair amount like Anne Hathaway. I like that. The hair is nice and soft, and it's kind of got a dynamic pose to it, which is nice. Now, these goggles do flip down, and to give you that sort of Batpod look. I think that's the way to display her, because these look a bit goofy to me up. She does come, though, with like, a set of gesture hands, so that's nice. You get the gesture hands, you get the bike riding hands. Let me see if I can get her on the bike to see what that looks like. Okay, so I finally got Selina posed somewhat on the Batpod, and I've got to say, the process of getting her to hold the little handlebars there and get her legs where they're meant to be was, it was a nightmare, and it drained my will to live. But I eventually got her there, and she looks reasonably okay. You'll see that her knees, I can't quite get her knees to fit in those stirrups properly without her hands popping out of those handlebars, but generally she gets the job done aesthetically, and it kind of has that same like goofy look as in the movie, where people are sort of lying down on the Batpod. It's not one of my favorite designs, but I can't deny that the sequences where this vehicle is used in the movies all are really, really rad, especially in The Dark Knight. That's a great scene with the Batpod. Dark Knight Rises, reasonable as well, and Selina looks pretty good on it. Is this worth the asking price, this little combo? Absolutely not. It's laughably expensive, but it's kind of cool for what it is. I just wish the price was better. Certainly, I think the upcoming Tumbler from The Dark Knight will be a better value overall, given that it also comes with a figure from the movie. So, yeah, this one, I don't necessarily think I have buyer's remorse, but I have, I'm questioning some of my life choices, let's say, when I look at this in hand. But it's not bad in and of itself. So finally, let's have a look at the digital, whatever it is, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. This is kind of the classic Hal Jordan that people have been clamoring for years in this line. We got the one in the 2-pack with Dawnbreaker. Of course, that one was a more modern design, not what everyone sort of wanted. I think generally this seems to fit the bill. Okay, so here is Hal Jordan out of the box, and yeah, he seems pretty cool. Like, you know, we've seen this body a million times. There's nothing new about it. It's quite appropriate for Hal Jordan. The one thing I will say is that he is lacking that texture on the suit that we did see with the Kyle Rayner that we got recently and some of the other Green Lantern figures. But I suppose if this is meant to be a sort of classic looking Hal Jordan, that, you know, that's just an aesthetic choice. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the texture. I think it brings life to a figure and really adds to the sculpt. But this is clean. I can't deny this is very, very clean. The proportions are okay. It's just a little bit uninspiring. The head sculpt, I think, is it's pretty representative of what you would look for in a classic looking Hal Jordan. I really like the topography. That symbol is painted on perfectly, very, very clean, very centered. I like that. The gloves are painted instead of sculpted, so that's a bit of a shame, but they look okay. You'll see here on the side here, there's a lot of paint slop. It's not clean. So yeah, a little bit disappointing there. The ring is painted on nicely. The boots are sculpted. So look, it's a fairly standard Hal Jordan figure. You get these sort of energy effects that I think are pretty average. You get two of them. I don't know anyone who's going to pose them with, you know, these effects, but they're there if you want them. You also get a pretty reasonable Green Lantern lantern. You know, again, it's made of that translucent plastic. You'll see I've got it caught up here with one of the extra hands. We'd use an extra grabby hand. And somewhere around here, there should actually be, yes, here we go, a gesture hand. So you get a fair spread of accessories. Like, he's okay. He'll look really good on my classic Justice League shelf. And, you know, him alongside that classic Aquaman and Nightfall Batman, and, you know, it's going to make a really nice spread. And I'll do a separate video with my classic Justice League so you can see what I mean. But yeah, I've been waiting for this figure for quite some time, and I have to say overall, yeah, he delivers in everything I was sort of hoping for. So that's good. So overall, it's been a really fun bunch of figures to open, some hits, some near misses, but overall I've been really positive and pleasantly surprised with everything I've opened tonight. Look, the Selina, Kyle and Batpod I think is a fine product, like in isolation, but in terms of what it's been priced at, I think it's just way too much for what it is, but it's still cool. And the Fidgetal stuff is pretty interesting, the way they're taking classic characters and sort of chucking heaps of accessories at them and selling them with an NFT. It's bizarre, but you know, Todd does things like that. If I had to rank the figures from my most favorite to least favorite, I think I'd put Rival as my favorite. It's just a great figure at its base, and this is a sort of a good repurposing of that figure. Next, I'd say Cassandra Kane. I really do like that wide cape. Very, very cool. After that, I would have to say that the Hal Jordan Fidgetal figure, it's a classic Hal Jordan. It's not exciting, but it's kind of a gap that needed filling. The Batpod and Selina Kyle is great, except for the price. Aquaman is fun. I really like the weird little dude. The figure itself is only passable. And I think finally it's Christian Bale, Skydive Batman. He's fine, but you know, we've seen it before. So that's all from me. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.